So, world, my name is Carlos De La Rosa. I am a commercial banker with City National Bank. And what I do is help businesses manage all of their banking, all of their cash management needs for the business. And on the flip side of that, the lending. So, whether you need working capital, whether you need to finance equipment, whether you need to finance real estate, I'm the man that's there to help.
All right, the $1 million question. What is considered a small to medium-sized business? I hear that all the time, and I'm like, am I small? Am I medium? Or am I large?
So, you ask 10 different bankers, you're probably going to get 10 different answers. And ultimately, I think that's more of an internal term that's been misused. But generally speaking, what most bankers will refer to as on the medium side is going to be businesses that have revenues between $2 and $50 million.
All right, so when you're talking about revenues, that means that you're going to take me on if I revenue in $2 million, or are you going to help me if I'm only doing $500,000, but I want to get to 2 million, or I want to get to 10 million? Will you
Yeah.
take me on?
One of the things that truly sets us apart, Chris, is the relationship banking aspect of it. And the fact that when we work with a client, we're not just looking at the individual transaction. So we're not just opening an account for the sake of getting a tick mark and moving on. We're not just doing a loan and then not hearing from us. So really our approach, and again, what makes us unique, because banking is very commoditized. We all have the same money screen. We all have the same apps. We all have checks. Fees for the most part are the same. There really isn't a lot of unique factors when it comes to banking. The one thing is the relationship. So the fact that when we look at a business or an individual and we really address the micro and the macro levels. So, dealing with whatever the pain is at the moment, whether it is you need to buy an office space, whether it is you need working capital for your business, whether it is you're just tired of doing business with a bank that won't return your call, or you don't even have somebody to call. So, the first step is what is it that is bringing you to the bank? We're even though we're $25 billion in assets, we're still a community bank. So most of our business comes from referral sources such as yourself, and there's usually some sort of level of pain that we need to address or issue. And then once we take care of that, again, we continue to look at, okay, what's next? Where do we're here. How do we get to there? And that's what, one of the things that truly sets us apart.
I want to say, when you're talking about pain, for me, the first thought was not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
How can a business owner know everything that they can do or they can acquire? And that's where I believe it's so important to have a business banker like yourself and working for a great bank that you can guide me. You can say,
Mm-hmm.
Chris, okay, what's your micro goal? Let's achieve that first, but let's set up some big macro goals, and I'm going to guide you there because of the examples, because the years of experience that I've had with other businesses like yours. We can get you there, because sometimes, business owners, we have blinders. We don't know what we don't know, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why we have to seek for professionals like yourself. And I've seen that with the clients that you have referred to me, or clients that I have referred to you, how you guide them in that process. And I think it's so valuable. And that's why I think you are so successful and your clients stay with you and stick with you because of that, because of the
Mm-hmm.
guidance and the concierge and the genuine type of advice that you give.
Yeah,
And sometimes it's an advice that you may want to hear, or sometimes it's an advice that you may not want to hear, but it
very
is
true.
for the right of the client, I believe.
Yeah. No, and that's why it's so crucial for businesses to surround themselves with the right partners, having you in their corner, advising them on matters of credit, having somebody like myself. And again, I'm not the only banker in town. There's a lot of great bankers, but I always tell my clients is if you're not with a local bank, obviously selfishly, I want them to bank with me, but if that's not the case for whatever, you already have a great banker, make sure you keep them. Make sure you have a great CPA, a great attorney. It's all about the team. You got to have people in your corner that are professionals that can advise you and that have your best interest at heart.
So, Carlos, how did you hear about Second Chance Credit?
So, Chris, our journey has been a fun one over the years. We first met, I believe, at a Coral Gables Chamber event. And where we really solidified our relationship is in our mutual involvement with the Gentleman's Journal. So that's where we've really grown to know each other. We're obviously colleagues. We do a lot of business together, but we're also friends, and that's really helped to take us, our relationship further.
I always say that people do business with people that like and trust. And when you like someone, you want to spend more time with them. When you spend more time with someone, then you start trusting them because you start understanding who they really are. And in this time is how do we do business together so that we feel confident when we refer a client to each other, or we're just asking for advice that I know you have my back and I have your back.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about.
So how has Second Chance Credit helped out your clients? If you could give me a quick success story.
Yeah, no, you've been a great partner. So one of the things in particular when it comes to the lending, as a bank, we're in the business of lending money and getting that money repaid with interest. That's it. That's the core of what banks do. We lend money, we collect with interest. So one of the things that we do in the lending is we're managing risk. We want to make sure that that individual or business that we're going to lend to represents an appropriate amount of risk, because there's always risk in lending. So one of the key factors that we review in that risk is the individual's credit score, because that tells the bank the risk that you present. At times, the one example that comes to mind, this is for a contractor client of mine, have been in business for a very long time. I think I've been in business for like 30 years. During the 2008 recession market crash, like a lot of individuals who are in business, they were affected. And one of the things that they needed to grow their business was to buy their own space, and more importantly, get the working capital, because of the cash cycle between when they do the work and pay their employees, the vendors, and the contractor pays them. This was presenting a big challenge for them. And the thing that was stopping them from getting the working capital that they needed was the credit. I mean, there was some judgments back from 2008, some liens, some late payments that the client had not addressed. So going back to what we were discussing earlier, we set a game plan and we said, look, right now, you're just not lendable because of these items. So I connected him to you. You took care of the credit issues. And this year, I got them the working capital that they need, which was perfect because the economy continues to do very strong, the pipeline that they have. And honestly, without this line of credit, they probably would not have been able to grow. I was able to take them out from a private high interest rate loan, and we locked them in. This was about 6 months ago, into a low interest rate. And the business is doing great in large part to the fact that they trusted me to trust in you, and you did your job to clean out a lot of the things that were making them a higher risk. And today, they're very thankful to you and the bank, for that, for the lending that we did to them.
Thank you, Carlos, for that. And one of the things that we pride ourselves at Second Chance Credit is, yes, we want to fix the problems, but we want to understand why the client got into those problems, because we don't want to just put a Band-Aid.
Correct.
We want to see what happened, how it happened, and then we want to go deep, deep, deep so that doesn't happen again. Because when a credit gets damaged, even one late payment, people think, oh, it's just one late payment or one small collection account. If you don't fix that problem, it stays there for 7 years. Mm-hmm. So the way I explain to clients is like, if you have a scar on your face and you're walking around for 7 years with that scar, yes, people still want to do business with you, but they're going to charge a higher interest rate. Or when those scars are too big or deep, then you're not lendable, your client. So we got to be proactive with items. But that was great by you. And I'm thankful that you referred them to us. But it's great that you're able to be proactive with the client and give him a hope. Because I bet a lot of banks, Carlos, will say, you know what, Mr. Customer, we can't help you, bye. And then the customer feels defeated. Mm-hmm. But there's no ray of light.
Yep.
But when
And again, that goes back to the point. You have to have the right team around you. You have to have the accountants, the attorneys, the bankers, the credit advisors that look at you, your individual business and an individual as yourself as a relationship. Because yeah, had it been a transaction, it would have been very easy for me to say, hey, you're no good, bye, and move on.
yeah.
But I saw the potential, I saw the need, and and one of the things I cared enough to say, this is, we're not there now, this is how we get there, this is what you have to do. And the clients, which a lot of times don't listen, but in this case he actually did. He listened, went to you, and it's somebody that again today is thriving, in large part thanks to the work that you and I did, on the credit and then the lending aspect.
And I bet now you're seeing good habits from the client, because now he knows that he has an accountability partner with you, because you're the banker, you're the one that lend them the money. He wants to do well for you, but also he has an accountability partner with me and my company, because we're the ones keeping him on track. So that's one of the things I tell everyone. We don't want to fix the initial problem. We want to fix the entire problem so they don't stumble again. Because a lot of us, we don't want to be bad. It's just a curveball happened. Life happened. And how can we get back again and learn from those mistakes? And that's why we named the company Second Chance Credit. Because how many people really do give you a second chance? They don't.
Yep.
But we do. And thanks to Carlos De La Rosa and City National Bank, we actually help out a lot of their clients. So, Carlos, again, brother, thank you very much for your referrals. Thank you very much for your trust. But thank you very much also for being a great friend and your time today.
It truly is an honor, Chris.